Hello, and welcome to Talk Tuesday about business. I'm Nancy Style. I'm very delighted to be here with you on Talk Tuesday about business. We're here every Tuesday, 12 noon UK time, in the Business Missions Facebook page to discuss business tips and suggestions and advice to help you in your business. So I run the firm called The Business Mission, www.thebusinessmission.com, which offers business plans, marketing strategies, marketing plans, legal contracts, trademarks, and so forth. I'm just in the midst of law school, also getting qualified as a solicitor / lawyer, wherever you are in the world. Okay, so today's topics that we are going to discuss is how do I increase sales in an online business? A lot of people on social media I can't seem to get sales. How do I improve my sales? Number 2, what is the best way to grow capital? What is the best way to grow capital for your business? And number 3, how can a newly startup business succeed in the first 1 to 5 years? Statistically, they say that 98% of businesses collapse or fail by year 3. So what are the tips to get past that year 3 and keep thriving in your business? Okay, so let's carry on to the first question is how do I increase sales in your online business? Well, first and foremost, you need a plan on how to increase those sales. Without a business plan, you will remain stuck in your current situation. Once the business plan is done, then embark on a marketing strategy, a marketing plan, a brand strategy, a social media strategy, and then a sales strategy. So when you start a business, you really need to put together the foundation and the structure from the onset. And that deals with a lot of strategies. Okay, so the business plan is the basic, really the foundation to the business. Following that, you need a marketing strategy and marketing plan. They're very different things. A lot of people just jump into the plan, but actually you need a strategy before the plan because the strategy is the framework. Following that, you need to understand the personality of the business so that you can project that in your content. And that comes from a brand strategy, the personality of the business. A lot of people think brand is branding, but they're very different things. Branding is your logo, your colors, that sort of thing. But brand is the personality of the business. Then you need a social media strategy, really understanding what platforms you're on and why you're using those. And following that, then you implement the sales strategy. So like building a house, you need that year or so to implement the structure of it, the planning of it, the permission. You got to put it to the council and say, hey, I want to build this house. Can I get the permission? And then they overlook everything. So if you skip any of the structure part from the beginning, well, the journey will be a bit hard and you won't be able to accumulate those sales online. Okay, then next, set goals within the social media marketing plan and sales plan. Decide on what you're going to achieve and then, put those goals ahead. Setting your expectations realistically will make you less likely to become discouraged. Okay, so if you say we're going to do 15 billion people in 1 month, well, you will be very discouraged. So you just need to make sure that you keep realistically expectations in place, okay? After setting those goals and using various strategies to reach them, some strategies might work better than others, but it's a trial and error, okay? Some approaches will work better for specific audiences. But again, when we talk about audience, you must make sure that you know who your audience is in and out, their behaviors, their purchasing powers, their user experiences. You've got to know all that, and that really comes from your marketing strategy. But most important, it's all about trying new things and learning, okay, what works and what doesn't work. And after all that, you may find a strategy that needs to change or continue to increase the sales, okay? It's very critical that you know your competition and what makes people choose one product over another. And the more informed you are about these things, the more easier it will be to develop effective strategies to increase those sales online. But again, as I mentioned, when I do see a lot of people on social media and they're like, look, I've been a year going or 2 years and I've got no sales, It's obvious that they didn't put structure into the business. Structure is what blooms everything, okay? A bee will not land on a flower if it's not structured because there's nowhere to land, okay? A spider spins a web, a very structured web, and then the insects fly into it. And structure is the golden key. It's so easy. If you structure your business, they will come. All right, Nancy Stottle from the Business Mission, very delighted to be here with you. We are on Talk Tuesday, 12 noon UK time, in the Business Mission's Facebook page to offer business tips and advice. You can find out more about my services on www.thebusinessmission.com. So we're on to the next question, which is, what is the best way to grow capital for my business? Okay, so a lot of people say, I don't, have any money. The best way to grow capital is by reinvesting profits into your business. Okay, if you want your business to grow, you should make sure that you are investing wisely. One way to make sure that you are investing wisely in your profits is by creating a cash flow sheet. All right, the first 4 to 5 years, you should never be taking money out of your business. That money needs to stay in the business in order to regenerate the business, in order to reinvest in the business. Okay, you need a side job, you need a second income. Maybe somebody, maybe you take a loan out to start a business, but the first 4 to 5 years, you should not be taking any money out of your business. You should leave the money in the business to reinvest it. So in marketing, in advertising, in leaflets, in Facebook ads, those sort of things. If you take money from the business, then you deplete the business. Okay, it's a bit like a child education fund. If you want your kid to go to university, Harvard, Stanford, wherever, you're going to have a fund. And every time you take money out of that, well, they won't get to that fund. And that's the same with your business. Okay. So to answer that final question there, which is, what is the best way to grow capital, is reinvest in your business in order to grow the business. Right, Nancy Stidle for Talk Tuesday about business. We're on one more question. Hopefully this will give you some direction. How can most newly startup businesses succeed in the first 1 to 5 years? Well, statistically, they say that 98% of businesses fail by year 3 because a lot to do with planning, but motivation, but not knowing what they're getting into. It's very different if you're nannying somebody's kid, compared to you deciding I'm going to have a kid. Very different things. And a lot of people have this notion or idea like, I'll go into business, I'll make lots of money, which really you should be going in business to improve lives. Or maybe there's something in your life that irritates you and you have a solution for that. And that solution will be amazed for other people out there. And that's why you start the business. Okay, and also they have these very high expectations they're going to make money in a week, and that's not the case, because you've got to build trust with people, and they've got to believe in you, and they've got to believe in your services, and that takes a while to do. Okay, so the next and final question is, how can most newly startup businesses succeed in the first 5 years? Well, first of all, you must know how to run a business. That's very different. Running a business and being passionate about what you love to do are two very, very separate things, which people clearly get sort of mixed up. Okay, if you're not sure, if you've never started a business yourself, hire a business structuralist like myself, a business mentor like myself, a business advisor, somebody who can help you set up a business. Look, I don't know how to build a house. I would not have any clue. If I tried to draft something up and then take it to the council, they'd say, no, sorry, mate, but this is not suitable because you're not an architect and you don't know what the hell you're doing, which is probably true. So I would hire an architect to help me do that blueprint and work beside the architect. So I would say to the architect, well, no, that room doesn't make sense there. And then he would draft it that way. Okay. Or he would teach me how to do that. And that's the same. If you've never started a business, I would advise that you hire a business structuralist like myself, or business mentor, or business advisor to give you that direction. If you've done the first business with somebody and then you get it, hurrah, you can go off and set up as many businesses as you want. But don't start thinking that you know how to draw a Picasso when it's damn hard, because that's the same with business, okay? So you need somebody who will guide you. Please make sure you read books, blogs, online courses if it's available. Just acquire that knowledge, okay? You particularly need to know about accountancy, about inventory management and marketing, cash flow sheets, and personal managing. Look, you can be the great chef in the world, you can cook the best souffle, but if you don't know how to manage people or know how to bring in sales, well, the business will collapse. Okay, having a passion in what you love to do is never enough when it comes to starting a business. You need to know how to structure the business to make it successful. Okay, so that's where it is. Structuring and loving a business, totally different things. Okay, remember, you are a separate entity than your business. There is you, John Smith, and the business, two separate things. Once you accept that and understand that, then the business will fly, but you will learn that through a business plan. Again, start with a business plan. Okay, number two, okay, have experience in the field you want to enter as an employee, as a contractor. Okay, there was somebody on Facebook the other day. She said, I really like to open a cigar bar. And I said, have you worked in the cigar industry? No, I just like the smell of them. Okay, listen, she can definitely do it, but she needs to get a part-time job in a cigar bar, see what it's all about, understand the product, understand, because sitting behind the bar and sitting in front of the bar are two different experiences. I know myself at a jazz bar, and I bought into the jazz bar, and I used to go and love to go, to jazz bars. But when I bought the jazz bar, boy, was it a wake-up call because I had to actually run a business rather than sit and have beautiful martinis. Okay, so you know, if it's a professional field like, IT or accountancy, you should have experience in that field. Okay, so find a job first. So let's say you like ice cream. Find a job in an ice cream parlor, learn everything you can about the ice cream parlor, and then start the business. Okay, because then you have the expertise in that field. All right, so that's the number one point I've made, is that you really need to have experience in that field. When people come to me and ask me for some investment, they say, oh, I want to invest in, I don't know, a car mechanic company. And I said, well, how long have you worked in that field? Well, I've never, but I like the idea. Well, that's a big warning sign for me, because we will be a lot of challenges ahead if you don't know what the hell you're doing and you're playing with my money. Okay, so on to the third point is cash. Okay, many companies and businesses fail due to the lack of cash. You need firstly money to live on, you need money to start the business, and you need money to run the business day to day. You need a cash up front to capitalize your business, okay? You need a little cash kitty for those hard days like coronavirus, okay? A lot of people collapsed because they had nothing in their kitty, all right? So you need cash to start. Someone says, no, you need no cash. I'm sorry, but that is just absolutely incorrect. If you decide you're going to have a baby, well, you need food for the baby, you need a roof over its head, and that's rent. You need clothing for the baby, you need a crib for a baby, you need a mattress for a baby, all those things for a baby, and that's the same for business. Okay, could you boot? Well, you could, but I tell you, that journey is going to be one miserable journey for you, and you're going to be very, very unhappy. There's also legal contracts. You need to trademark a name. So there's all these things. So save up a bit of money. If you're not doing a bricks and mortar business, you can easily save up 5 grand. And even if you're putting £10 away from your salary every week, that's already 40 quid in a month. Okay. So just save up the money. And, I think it was my father who said to me, don't buy things when you don't have the money. Okay. Don't start a business when you don't have the money. Right. You will start a business, but it will be the time. My law school, my degrees, I all saved the money. Through my work, I paid my way through those schools. I never took out a loan. I never borrowed any money. I just took small savings along the way. Okay, so you need money to start a business. There, like I said, there's trademark, there's marketing, there's business plans. If you're hiring a business advisor as an investment, these are all investments. Remember, you need to add assets into your business in order to fill it up, to make it very interesting when the exit comes. Okay, so you need cash to start a business. Number 4, marketing and sales. You will need to decide which you will work on marketing and sales at least 10 to 15 hours a week. You have to be constantly promoting your business out there. Perhaps the second most frequent cause in business failure is the lack of marketing. And the lack of marketing comes from the lack of knowledge of the marketing, the lack of knowledge of social media marketing if you're on marketing. And that reverts to my first question, which was strategies. Okay. If you're not knowledgeable on marketing, and most people aren't, they won't have a clue how to marketing. Marketing is your process from going from A to B and what vehicle you're going to take. Some of my clients aren't even on social media, so I hand out leaflets. Okay, some people are not on social media, believe it or not, and they need to know about your business. And my audience, some of them are not on social media, so I have to think of different marketing tactics to get my message across to them. Okay, so last and final point is focus and determination. Okay, you have to know what you're doing and have laser focus on doing it for the right customers. It's very hard in the sense of being determined. Business is very simple when it's structured right, but it's hard to keep focus. You have to have a very tough mind to stay in business. Okay, you have to force yourself every day to go feed the baby. Okay, that's what business is about. Some people who fail by year 3, they just didn't have the determination. Yes, the strategies, the business plans, the marketing strategies, all those are very important parts of the business. But if you don't drive those things, it won't succeed. You've got to be consistent in business every single day. You've got to be a routine person. If you're not a routine person, then you've got to become one. Okay, you've got to get up every day and feed this business every single day. Okay, I do it every day. My staff does it every day. And that's how your business will become successful. Okay, and with all that, you won't likely succeed as making a lot of profit in years 1 to 5, but you will likely survive and be on the upward path, okay? Because the main reason for failure in businesses, failure to set the right expectation, the right structure from day one, and realize how much dedication and work it is with how little money you have to get it going. So failure and just quitting are the same things, but you must be prepared when you start, and then it is a wonderful and enjoyable and successful journey in the long run. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed my points there. You've taken something up, learned something new. Knowledge is king. If you've enjoyed this Facebook Live, please share it with other people that might be in business or you think are going to start a business, may be able to help them. We've got a lot of other videos in our Facebook page under the video section, which you can watch as well. I'm going to sign off now. It's Nancy Stadel from The Business Mission. You can visit our website, www.thebusinessmission.com. We are here every Tuesday, 12 noon UK time, in The Business Mission's Facebook page for Facebook Live. I'll see you next Tuesday, 12 noon. Take care. Bye.